go ahead and start. We've got one member who will be coming in a couple minutes. But let's at least get the preliminary matters taken care of. So I'm going to open the meeting and look for an approval of the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That would pass unanimously. Look to the planning minutes for March 2nd of 2026. Anybody have any edits or suggested changes on the minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the March 2nd meeting minutes.
Okay, motion to approve, seconded by Scott, to approve the March 2nd minutes as presented. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously. Also, I'm moving now to public comment. Now it's time for public comment on items not on the agenda. If you have an item that you'd like to call to the attention of the planning board that's not on the agenda, you can come up now and speak to that item. If you're waiting for an item that's on the agenda, you'll get a chance when that item comes up. Is there anybody here to speak to the planning board on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. We'll move to variances. Just so it's clear to the audience, there are variances Board of Adjustment and then followed by variances Planning Board. These are two different procedures. Variance Board of Adjustment, the Planning Board, pursuant to state law, passes and is the final word on those variances. But 5 members have to vote for those variances under state statute because they are variants from our ordinances. Variances under Planning Department, item number 4, are recommendations this Planning Board makes to, you have a question, Tanya? Makes to the County Commission. Oh, well, then you should.
That was the recommendation.
So you've misposted them, is
Yep,
what you're
the
saying?
Board of Adjustments, Article 33 is a recommendation to the Commission approval.
Okay, so you've
ordinance-
misposted them.
Ordinance 33 does not read right as a variance then on the end of it.
Right.
So the variance on Ordinance 33 goes to the Board of Adjustments, and that's where I placed it.
Okay. We are the Board of Adjustment. We stand as standard as the Board of Adjustment. And for those items directed to us by the Commission. Not on all items. The Commission sits as the Board of Adjustment on other ordinances. So what are you telling me about so we make sure we get our voting right here?
I understood the Board of Adjustments was a vote.
When we sit as Board of Adjustment, those are for items that we would be the final say on. If it's a variance for a non-item that has to go to the Commission pursuant to ordinance, the Commission sits as Board of Adjustment, and they have to make a final say on it. So, do we have an issue or not? Okay, and what is the issue?
Item 3B.
Okay, and so those that are under Planning Board are ones that we are sitting as Board of Adjustment. Monday.
Oh yeah, it's a Monday.
So the ones that are final for us as the board that do not go to the Commission are
4. Item 4, variances, Planning Board are the ones Planning Board would make it.
okay. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna ready? Double checking that? Okay. Well, no, I mean, the legislature is taking care of that for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, can I get a motion to reopen the agenda, please?
Second.
Move and second to reopen the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Seeing none, then can I get a motion to change the heading under 3 to variances planning board, and under number 4, variances board of adjustment?
Second.
Moved and seconded to change the, so if this passes, then essentially we're just correcting the headings on these. So the first ones under section 3 will have to go up to the commission, correct, Tanya? What's that?
I was writing it.
What you've listed under section 3 have to go up to the commission for final approval. Okay. She's got to pull her mic a little closer. All right, so all those in favor of that edit to the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, perhaps what we need to do is change that heading to variances planning board recommendations on the ones that go up to the commission from here on forth to keep that confusion. All right, so we are now going to look at item 3B, which is a variance request. This is a variance request that will have to be finally determined by the county commission, and the planning board makes recommendations on it. We'll make a recommendation only. I'm going to recuse myself for discussion on this one because I own property next to this project, and Stan's going to run the meeting. I'll step away from the board.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep. Okay, so we'll just start out with, I guess, the proponents here. You guys want to start, or Tanya, do you want to start? Let them start.
They can go ahead and dive into it.
Okay.
State engineering. I've just, we're here to request a variance to ordinance 33 for the fire hydrant spacing. The fire hydrant spacing listed in the ordinance is really designed for very urban subdivisions. I mean, it really is, and it's more for quarter acre, maybe half acre lots at the max, somewhere in that range. It's a good ordinance for those size lots, but it isn't for as you get larger lots, and it gets very costly for, not only costly, but just gets in the way. And so the reason we're asking for that, we got support of both fire departments, both Piedmont and North Haines Fire Department, for this, for the spacing. It's less than 1,000-foot spacing. Some places it's 800, but it's less than 1,000, and it basically reduces from somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 to 25 down to about 10. But we're still providing fire hydrants, which is, and there's other spots in the ordinance which, if the well was a poor well, which it isn't, and we're lucky to have that, would not even require fire hydrants. So for this subdivision, I mean, they would still require dry hydrant with storage, but so we're bettering that by far. It's much better to have a pressurized fire hydrants. So, and the fire department was very supportive of this option. So there is more justification there, but I tried not to belabor it. So I guess open it up for questions if there's questions.
Would you repeat what you said about well?
There's a I don't want to say an exception, a allowable, if in the ordinance it says that if under 100 gallon per minute well is provided, that you can provide just a one single dry hydrant with fire storage. And which is kind of, it makes it tough because we got a developer who's drilled the best well you can, put down all the way down to the Madison Formation, which there rarely are in this area, and yet somebody who puts in a well that might go into a lesser formation, a lesser quality, can actually put in no hydrants, but because of the way it's written, he would have to put in 20, somewhere in between 22 and 25 fire hydrants, depending on how you spaced them, probably. And so we're just looking for a compromise somewhere in between. Want to do the right thing and have good fire flows out there, but for this type of, for 1 to 2 acre lots, that type of spacing we'd have one every other lot.
So, sir, with regards to the ordinance 7.9.6, it states that flushing hydrants shall be installed at the end of all dead-end water lines. Do you have any dead-end water
We
lines?
do not have any. We do not. The only. Yep, we will have them. The only spot that we may not have one, the hydrant would be just before it, and that's so we can continue. That's going south onto Husker Way. I mean, I'm only talking like maybe. And these are not finalized. I mean, as in exact. I mean, we got them close. We wanted before we finalized them. We wanted to get this approval, but that one. For example, we're going to have a stub out there so that in the future, if people need water, there's the potential to connect to it. Or we might do another way. We could stub it on the end of it, but the problem is then we get it farther away from the intersection. We could put it on the end of it. We could do that too. But then if you do that, you have to shut down the water system when you make that connection.
Okay, and to confirm that in any one of these 10 hydrants you want to use in lieu of the 25 that the ordinance is requiring, if I crack one of those things open and connect it to a hose, you're going to give me 250 gallons per minute at 100 psi at all of them?
Probably more. Yes.
So in other words, you're able to space it out but still keep the pressure up.
Oh yeah, because we got a dual loop system, and we're going to put the pipes big enough so that they get to that point. Yes, absolutely, more than 250. Absolutely.
And
we're actually shooting for more than that. So.
No, and I reviewed your packet, and I want my compliments to your organization for your professionalism and your ability to put a lot of this stuff in layman's terms. So thank you for that. It made it a lot easier to follow.
Right, too.
Go ahead.
Just 2 questions. So this is the exact map that the fire department saw that they.
The one that the one that North Haynes saw was missing the one on lot 36 and 37. But if you look at their letter, it's requests it, and we added that one to the map. The only thing that was missing was one lot. I think it's 36 and 37, wasn't it? I think it was.
Go ahead.
This one was the one right there. That 36 and 37. And they mentioned it in their letter, and we added it.
Just to
Yes.
follow up to that, then, are these the 2 primary fire departments that would be responsible for this area?
Correct. North Haynes probably is more likely to respond, but Piedmont also has some.
Staff, Tanya, do you have anyone with staff have any concerns or comments?
I did some research on this. It's never been approved. We've always followed the ordinance requirements. I'm looking for the engineer and the fire department for guidance and for the planning board on this. It's not been of approval. That's a pretty good precedence moving forward. Our ordinance is truly written as an urban, then we really do need to change it so it's more rural, but currently this is what we have in facing with our ordinance.
Right.
I just know that there's been other subdivisions, especially that have connected to rural water systems, that have not had to put in fire hydrants because the rural water system can't provide fire storage. They don't have that availability, and so we've allowed that. So, I do think the ordinance needs to be modified at some point. Now, to what extent? But typically, the authority having jurisdiction is both the fire department and the municipality, in this case, the county. But, you know, we typically rely on the fire departments in our industry to tell us what they need and what meets their needs.
Yes, sir. And we don't mean to replace that to a point, but we have to keep an eye on the fact that our ordinances are written to one specifications, and we've had people come before us and say, well, I met the fire department's code, but it hasn't met your code.
The only thing I asked was, is it enough fire hydrants, because these lots are to have hangers attached to them, have different level of fire than...
Yeah, different fire load, or fuel load, I should say.
And I'm not I'm not a fire engineer, but fire protection engineer, but generally in this size, it's anywhere from, we're shooting for 750 is what we're shooting for GPM on this, which is more than most places.
Yeah, and that is good.
So.
Dee, do you have your mic on?
So, the county code applies to residential. And so we're only talking about the residential area of this. We're not talking about the hangars or the commercial part.
Well, these are primarily going to be houses, either houses with a hangar or combined house with hangar situation.
Are there any sprinkler systems in any of these other buildings outside the residentials?
That's going to be up to each individual owner. We aren't planning necessarily to require that because there's some variation. There's options. If somebody builds a really big one, they may want to put in a sprinkler system. But typically, and Craig can speak to this at many of the airports, most of them don't have them. So if they have a really, I think it's more about your own personal risk. I mean, meaning they know, if they build out here with 750, they're going to know what those risks are. But if you had a really fancy jet, yeah, you might want to put a sprinkler system in there to protect your jet if that's the case. But the spacing on these lots should be plenty. It should be more than 40, 50 feet between lots easily, between structures. So between lots. So usually 40 feet is a good spacing. So I can't tell you. Again, I don't get into pretend that I'm a fire protection engineer, but
talking about spacing, the 400 feet spacing between, or how many feet is it that you have on there on the map in between each?
I would say it's averaging about 800 feet, give or take, and as high as 1,000, but averaging probably in the 800 range.
And my concern would be if the fire departments clearly have sent letters and signed off on this. When a truck pulls up to a hydrant, they hook up their LDH, large diameter hose, to that, and then the truck takes off to wherever the structure fire is. And if they have enough hose between those two hydrants, would be a concern for me.
Typically, the reading I did on NFPA for this type of situation is they want 600 feet of hose to the nearest fire hydrant. Well, it kind of tells you about 1,200 foot space, give or take. Now, it's not perfectly that, but it's generally about a 1,200 foot spacing, which it would be a little less than that because you're at an angle through to the building. But, so that 1,000 foot.
Equivalent to like one city block. If there's a fire hydrant, in a high density area, you have a hydrant on every city block.
Right. That's what 400. That's where the 400, 450 is. That's a typical city block. Correct. Right. And that's the reason this. I'm not saying there shouldn't be fire protection. By far, there should be.
No, I agree.
And it's a little bit. It really raises the cost for these rural subdivisions when we try to put fire hydrants are now $11,000 a piece typically to put in, and that doesn't that doesn't include the pipe lateral. So I'm all for it, but it's just like, let's be reasonable, especially if the fire departments are saying that we don't need that much. So that's our comment.
I got a quick question. some insight, I guess, too. But my name's Craig Baumler. You know, for instance, like if Sturgis Airport, it's a public airport. They have one 1-inch water line that feeds like multiple hangars and stuff that people have, you know, bathrooms and things in, but they have no fire protection whatsoever. So I mean, this is well above that, and I think there's a perception that these planes hold a lot of fuel. Most of them probably hold 40 to 60 gallons of fuel. So if you consider a hangar, you got one plane in there, you know, it's like having two vehicles in a garage. So there's not like this abundance of fuel that, you know, like, obviously like an airliner or something has.
We did talk about that early on for fuel storage on the property or in the area. Where is the fuel storage on? Is there going to be a fuel station anywhere?
I don't think so. I mean, we're going to have maybe a fuel truck, and then we're not going to allow people to store it on their lots.
Okay.
The Sturgis probably has like 5 fuel trucks there. Some of the owners have their own fuel trucks.
Right.
And we're not going to allow that.
And the difference between Sturgis and what you're doing here is residents.
Mm-hmm.
You have people there living
Yep.
right next to their airplane or within the hangar itself. It is definitely an interesting dynamic here, what we have with the multi-use of all of it and the density of what's there for residents. Any further questions from the board? Have anybody from the audience here to speak to it? Sir, come on up and state your name and use the mic, please.
Your guys are.
You state your name for us too, for the record.
My name is Philip Smith. I live at 220, 25 220th Street in Piedmont. Is this the infinity map right there on what we're looking at? Because you guys are losing me, and I can't hear. These PA systems are terrible. But is that the map of the infinity of housing development?
Yes, the proposed.
Okay, where the devil is 220th Street on that map?
On the south side here, sir.
Right, now, but in the relationship to the housing development is what I want to know.
So this is the Crossway runway, and the housing development sits in here.
Correct, but that's not showing me on that map of the houses.
The housing development sits within this triangle.
Right. Go back to that map. That's what I want to know. Is if you go back to the map, now where is 220th? That's 220th.
Husker Place goes into 220th.
Okay, because I live right across the road. My driveway runs into the entrance to that setup. That's where I live.
Okay.
Okay, my question is, or statement, is all this waterway and variances, I got the letter. My problem is, it doesn't explain nothing. I would like to see that when you put out an update, a variance, whatever, tell me what it's about. Don't make me come up here to find out what it is and what the deal is. I mean, I'm looking out for me and my land and my neighbors and all that. I don't understand the fire spacing and all that. That's on their land. That has really no effect to me. So, I mean, that's the thing I want to know is because that's it. I mean, the other thing is I'm hearing all sorts of stories, and that's the problem, they're stories, about things that are being changed, and we're not being notified. Now, is that true? Is there any been of the original?
No.
Of the original? Because somebody told me they're eliminating the section line completely now. Is that true? Is the section line going in like it was originally, coming down the east side of the property and then coming down onto Husker?
Yes, there have been several notices sent out throughout all the affected landowners in that area regarding all that.
I haven't got, this is the first letter I've got, and I live across the road. I got a letter there. Now that's what I'm asking is the section line still going in as proposed on the east side?
Yes, so this section line here is being relocated to this over here. That
Correct.
comes in.
That's what
Yes.
that's what I want to make sure that's still going in. Because I know where that's just all down the edge from my property.
Okay.
The old section line. Okay. Okie dokie, but that's that's the thing, is put it in black and white so I can read the darn thing.
Sure. And, the notices go out, and I believe there should be email contact if you need to contact via email or phone to call in and check and see with equalization and planning.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's what my whole concern was, basically. I don't like the stories, and they spread like wildfire, and most of them are bogus.
Sure.
So,
Do you have any concerns or comments on the placement of fire hydrants within this?
no.
Okay.
Not a one.
Okay.
I don't see any problem with it whatsoever myself. It doesn't really concern me. It's the people that are going to live there that need it. I'm a quarter-mile away to the south, so.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else want to speak to this item here? Okay. Guess it's up to the board here of have any more. Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I can't say I'm 100% on board because we are varying a little bit from the variance as the baseline is set. However, since knowing when you guys first started this process, you've been beyond reproach, in my opinion, being forthwith and forthright in providing timely information and assuring that if you're not meeting our ordinance, in a lot of ways you're exceeding it, which obviously this is an example of. And being in the military and all the other stuff, I learned that sometimes you follow the regulations, other times you have to do your best you can to follow the spirit of the regulations. So I'm in favor of motioning that we approve this request as the variance presented.
This will be recommendation to the county commissioners to approve this or not approve it.
Yes, I do support the.
There's a motion on the table. With
I'll
Mike.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this as presented.
Unless staff has anything to add.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I'll be one opposed. And the motion carries. Thank you. Yep, I will turn this back over to Mr. Wysork.
220th Street.
So this is a preliminary plat request, or I'm sorry, a variance request. Ordinance 10, Article 3211, to allow 220th Street that sits on the south of the property to remain as an existing road right-of-way width of 24 foot and not to improve the standard to 28 as required by ordinance. They're taking the lot that's currently 58 acres, subdividing 2 acres off in the southwest corner, and then the remainder would be a new lot. Um, 220th Street is not maintained by the county. It does have road ditches, though. kind of where that's what the request is for, not to improve it to a 28-foot wide road.
So the remaining 50.
Remaining 50 will be a lot also.
Question is, what are the?
I don't know.
For the remaining 50 on the
Yep.
top.
Yes.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
At some
Can you
point,
identify who you are?
what's that?
You identify who you are.
I'm Cameron Hopp. I would be to eventually. House.
So you're going to own the other 50. Building on one of those two floors, or?
So I currently, the bottom
It is on.
The bottom southeast corner is where my house currently is. Work on selling that.
So the reason for my question is, if you're going to piecemeal this 50 crossed into sublots, then at what point do we make you do 220? And that's why I'm asking the question. If you're going to tell me that for the next 40 years that's going to be farm ground, okay. But if you're going to tell me you're going to subdivide it, I might have a little more heartburn.
I work with subdividing them. Fodder is being placed to lines.
Well, it's a big difference between an ag approach and a residential approach. I was looking at, I don't see that in either any of the apps we have a floodplain for that area.
We do not. No, it does not start until you hit just east of the property is when the engineered flood study picks up for McFarland subdivision.
Well, because it looks like there's going to be a drainage easement. How did we determine that?
Surveyor shot that drainage easement in out there. There's the low-lying area that they picked up. Wetlands area that they picked up, which starts the engineered flood study that goes to the east.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, when I got on this board 10, 12 years ago, there was a multitude of houses out there that were lakes. So, I mean, it makes a guy a little nervous. And going back to C's question, I mean, the other question on that is how much subdividing we're going to make you do before we tell you you got to do a flood study in that area too, so we know what the lots look like. Obviously, to do 2 lots, you probably can't it's probably not cost effective to do a flood study. But
No, but the flood study is on the drainage to the north of you. This is the flood study that picked up was this drainage here. This has never been studied. The one that comes, these are not studied yet.
could you back it out again? Yep. That's the problem. So you see that flood study down.
Right.
So that's this drainage right
Yep.
here is this flood
Yep.
study. That's where there were multiple houses. You were on the board, remember that?
Yep.
Where there were pictures of the house and then it was just water all the way around it at one.
An island.
You know, one
Yeah.
had in the last. So well, yeah, but FEMA doesn't do flood studies everywhere. We make developers do flood studies, but it's not a FEMA flood study.
First, because it comes up as a preliminary plat in new business,
Yes, it does.
but we've got it on the agenda twice before that.
Well, yeah, we would have to.
Yeah, the variances have to be approved before the preliminary plat can, or
Yeah, it kind of puts you in a spot where you almost have to talk about the preliminary plat before you're going to approve the variance.
Thank
What
you.
you're getting
I
at,
thought
yeah.
maybe I was.
No, I agree. We've had this happen a couple other times where you got preliminary plats, but the preliminary plat can't be approved because of the variance issue, or you could approve the preliminary plat subject to it getting variances, but then people start to operate under that, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with a situation that they might be putting money in, but never be able to get the variance. So that drainage wraps around the back of your house, sir?
What's that?
The drainage wraps around the back of your house there? Or is there a drainage? I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out the front. Okay, well, yeah, I know there's a drainage there, but it looks, just looking at the pictures, looks like there's a curvature.
I can't tell
On the
which
north
part
north
of your,
side.
The north side is up a hill.
That's uphill, okay.
Yeah. So my house
Okay.
is the lowest lying point of our
Okay.
property. Everything else is elevated.
You go back to that, showing where the drainage is on the GIS.
Yep.
Just to mention on your map where those blue lines are, there's a creek going through the top there. And then there's a creek south of us. So all of that blue flooding plain is along those creeks. And we don't have a creek bed where elevation than most of them. North and south of it. Give you the layout of the area.
Okay, more questions? I would just say any general questions you might have on the whole plan, open for, I mean, not saying that we have to make final decisions on it, but those that might play into whether you want to recommend this variance.
So staff, it looks like you put down in a summary that you think that this is an okay deal. Can you give me your reasoning? That's why you get paid the big bucks.
It is a tough question. So it's a plot that's been approved, that's been subdivided once before. If it's subdivided again, I would recommend that there's no more subdivision until it comes in with a master plan and the road would be built to a standard. No maintenance is a little tough after talking to Troy, but I did drive down that road. It's a fairly decent road for whomever maintains it. I did talk to the DNR on the water. It's a good water system. It has good flows. I didn't know who Deep Horizon was by any means, so I had to call the state on that one.
Okay, so what I
If
would...
it keeps moving forward, yeah, the 50 acres would have to have a water study, and you'd have to start developing because they're tapping into another source.
Okay, so it sounds to me like they're coming right up to the edge of your red line. So the question I would ask for Mr. Hop is that, obviously you got a big chunk. You only need a nibble. You want to get rid of the rest of it. How is this going to be projected, to potential people who may want to buy on it or build on it or anything else if once you sell it and they turn around and find out they got to do all this other stuff and then they're like, well, it's not my problem anymore, dude. I got the receipt.
Right. I guess I'm not sure how if our discussion today is now something that we have to disclose to whoever we would sell it to, if they're looking to do that kind of thing.
Okay, so when you're saying it like that, you're basically telling me you already got a couple people nibbling out there. Is that correct?
I not currently that's anyone's currently interested to buy it, pending this decision. But if we're able to sell the lot and use that money to fix up our house, we would be wanting to move back into town. The options would start to be available, but I don't have a deal contingent upon this being approved.
Other questions or?
Much to my dismay. The commission approve this variance with conditions that further subdivision, that we don't need the master plan.
So your motion would be to recommend to the commission, grant the variance with the condition that any further subdivision of currently Lot 2 would require master plan and road being brought up. Okay, I'm just restating it to make sure I understand the motion. Okay, is there a second to that? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion.
Just a real quick question. How do we require that master plan be?
Well, I mean, it's a note in planning that's going to be required, correct?
Yes.
And the variance should state that we're now filing variances on the properties. Is that what we're doing?
We're starting to, yes.
Yeah, we're starting to file the plat. So then that future buyers would be put on notice. And Sam put out a good point. Is anybody else here to speak to this variance? All right, so the motion's moved and seconded. Yeah, that's why I referenced, Christian, the whole lot too, is the variance would go, even if they subdivide this, would go against all three of those lots, not just the lot two. So if somebody came in and wanted to subdivide that 4 down into 2 2s, it would kick in there too.
I think that's very important. You know, sometimes these, meetings, the content or the intent, kind of gets lost in history. And, next thing you know, we've got other applicants sitting here that are wondering why things are so difficult for them. But, as long as it's memorialized somewhere where that's made very clear. And obviously, I like that you have your agent here because that person can also describe the pinnacle that needs to be climbed, for certain uses.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we're moving toward filing some of these variances on the property because, the other issue that we've been running into is somebody comes in, gets a variance, then they sell the property, and then the buyer's in here going, why is this restriction on my property? It's in our records, but it wasn't on the ground, and we're just like, well, that's what you're going to have to comply with. So, all right, other discussion. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of recommending this based on the condition that any further subdividing would require the bringing of the 2/20th as it fronts the lot to specs, county specifications, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so this is a recommendation to the county commission. The county commissioners still have to pass this variance. Go back then to the next item. Next item is a variance request, allowance of a 14-foot wide driving surface rather than 28-foot, required by ordinance number 10, Rovier, Double Diamond Trust.
Nobody wants to sit by Tanya.
That's fine.
Made you feel good.
I turn my button on. Shannon Baseline Surveying. We are here for a variance request for a preliminary plat that you're going to see here later in the agenda. Simply, this variance is the variance to ordinance 10 Article 3321, which is basically the required width for roads within Meade County ordinance. What we are asking is, if you see the plat on the screen, there are two lots, and we're just looking to get the this variance only pertains to this little road. Basically, they're the private roads that come off of the main road on the south. So we're looking for a 14-foot width road surface built on those particular roads. So.
The driveway, essentially what you see is the driveway.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So there would be no plan to allow other access off of those roads.
Correct.
A different structure. I mean, I could see maybe somebody driving down it for ag purposes, but
Cows, that kind of thing.
yeah. But
yeah, like I said, they're basically the driving surfaces within the other private property accessing their lot. So.
questions?
That one to the south, my eyes aren't working very good. They're all private, correct? The one on the south, and the driveways are private.
Yeah.
They're not public.
This one, yes, correct. This one is a private access easement, but we're building that to county standards. So.
Okay.
The one that runs north,
east-west,
yes, on the south side.
Yep.
Other questions? Is there anybody here to speak to this variance request? Staff, anything else on this one?
Since it's serving less than 4 lots requirement.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of goes back to C's comment on the other one. I really don't see an issue with it as long as all of a sudden there's not like 3 other lots that are going to access off of it in the future.
Just to reiterate, this is these lots are being platted for a couple of my kids to live there. I don't foresee anything being built any more than this. For one reason is the length of the new driveway does meet the maximum standards, so I don't see it getting any bigger there. We aren't going to put anything in between them or closer to the road or anything like that, so.
Questions, thoughts?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion to recommend to the commission approval of this variance as presented. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Well, that passes then.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to the agenda. We'll go back to item 4, which is now the actual where we're going to be sitting as Board of Adjustments. So I'll need a motion to go into Board of Adjustments here.
So moved.
We move in second to enter the Board of Adjustments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, we'll now be sitting as Board of Adjustment. These will be variances requests that will be final and not go to the commission here, barring an appeal. So, Sam, you want to handle the first one against It's Infinity Landing again.
4A. Let you fire away there, Shane.
All right. Shane Matt with Interstate Engineering. We're just requesting a variance to Ordinance 20, Article 7.3.1.5, which is just an extent. Basically, it's the length of time to finish a final plat after a preliminary plat is approved. We're just having we hope to get it done very soon, and we're trying to shoot for the June meeting, but there's been a lot of coordination lately, especially on some of the section line road and also coordinating with the state on the water system. It's taken us just a little bit of time, and we'd like to make sure that we have adequate time to do this right.
Sure.
And so that's the reason we're requesting the extension. We don't expect a year. We are requesting a year just to keep it simple so we don't have to do this multiple times. That's the reason we're doing. We expect only 1 to 2 months additional if we need it, but that is why we're doing it, just so we can keep it simple and not have to come back to you guys multiple times. So, and that was kind of at the recommendation of Tanya, just so we don't have to bother you guys with multiple things.
I'm excited about this project, so bother me all you want, because this hopefully is going to be one of many in the future, the way things are looking.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's a 1-year extension, correct?
1 year from the extension that was already granted by the commissioners.
Okay, and then maybe somebody can explain if during that time building codes were to change, standards were to change, do they apply to today's application or at the time of final approval, or how does that work since it's such a long extension?
The building permits won't be approved until the final plat is approved and all infrastructure is in place.
So at the time building permits are issued, that would be the code that it would fall under? Okay.
And any other ordinance?
And any other building permits and wastewater.
Up to final permit, or final plat, though. I mean, what I'm saying
Final
is,
plat.
once final plat is approved, I don't think you can hold us to something new, but ordinance, but
So during preliminary and final, you can't build anything anyways. The final approvals.
Good question. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody from the audience? Okay.
Make a motion that we approve as set forth.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve and extend it to June 10th, 2027. Any further discussion? Okay. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Turn it back over to Mr. Wazorek.
All right, we'll go to item B, variance request, no dedication of additional right-of-way along 220th.
It was,
Yeah, I know, they're not paying
are they
attention.
coming? Oh.
You're back.
Hello again.
We've missed you. This is a request to avoid the additional dedication in this area.
The 220th Street was previously dedicated when Lot 2 was created of Overlander, just not to dedicate the south side of that street.
Okay.
They're not the owners of the land.
All right.
Somebody else.
Yeah, this is or we got a couple new board members, so I'm not sure they've seen this before, but this variance we grant generally is a regular course where they don't own the stuff on the other side because it says they've got to dedicate both sides under the ordinance, but they can't force somebody to dedicate the public right of way beyond that. So is this is a request though to
Not to dedicate the other half of the street.
Yeah.
Dedicating their side, they're just not
The other side has been dedicated. It was done previously on prior plats. Just not to dedicate the south side of 220. Correct.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Anybody here to speak to this? Seeing none. And a motion made to approve the variance as requested. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. A discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, so moving next to their second variance, they're up here still.
And
And
again,
this is, this is to not improve the road again, so it fits within the plat.
Yes.
Right, because it's in under the road requirements and under the platting requirements.
prove with the
Without improving the road. Moved and seconded to grant the variance subject to the condition that the land be restricted from further subdivision without improvement of the road. Questions on the motion? You guys have any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes. I think we'll go to D then. You guys will be back later again. Additional dedication on Bear Butte Road.
Oh. Would you have Shannon just present all of those together, Talbot, and then do individual motions? Would that work?
Well, we have private access road serving no improvements, Bear Butte, 40-foot wide. Yeah, go ahead and kind of just present. We'll take them. We'll have to vote on them separately, though.
Okay. Okay. Shannon Boston's baseline surveying. So the first variance is a variance ordinance 20 Article 6.9.11, which basically is the one just like you previously just seen for dedicating, not to have to dedicate the property across the road, basically the neighbor's property. And that's one that you just seen is pretty common variance. The second one is the two private access roads that we just approved for the 14-foot width. They are, one of them is over the 1320, and basically, actually both of them are, because if you come from Bear Butte Road within that private access easement, they are over that 1320. Not a lot, but they are. So that's the second variance that we're looking at. The third variance is to allow, it's ordinance 20, article 612.4. Just saying that we're asking to leave Bear Butte Road the width that it is. Bear Butte Road is a pretty good road. I mean, it's kind of your standard county road it meets that 23, 24 foot wide width. So we're asking to not have to improve that to the 28 foot required. And then the last variance is to allow, it's basically Article 2613.1, which states a 66 foot wide private access easement. So we're asking that a 40 foot private wide access easement just to those smaller lots, or just to the lots that we received the variance for the road width on. So just to be clear, the road on the south side running east and west is a full 66 foot wide easement, so there's no variance needed on that one. So
and this is probably more a question on the plat. When I look at the plat of the lots, I do have a question when I was looking at this dedication. So as you go north, there's a note there, previously recorded perpetual easement to Meade County. No width stated. That appears, so you stop your dedication at that quarter line.
I did. We found that document in our research, and it was a very poor written document. I think.
I didn't write it, did I?
No, it was no, you didn't. So it's a very old document. I think back in the day, the county was just trying to make a statement that 33 foot of that section line can be utilized for public access. For some reason, I've never seen one like that before. The way it was written, but I just thought it was important to note it on the plat that it did exist. So,
but okay, so why aren't we platting Bear Butte Road to the north of the property that's being impacted by this plat?
Oh, so further north?
Yeah. Why don't we should take it all the way through that? Through the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter. It seems you stop at the half section line, and you don't go north, even though that area is being.
I guess I just did that based on kind of our discussions with staff and previous meetings. I thought that was our intent, just to dedicate up to that point. But we could definitely look with the owner. Yeah. If we need to dedicate more. So.
Yeah. What's the lot there up the corner at the section lines? That must be platted as something else.
Further north.
Yeah, I'm just looking at just the way that the staff has these lines. I don't know whether there's like a government lot or what's going on there. It's like.
Yeah, the green lots. Those are just. I'm not sure why they're parceled that way, but Scott would probably know the history of that. That might just be the
tax ID or something, maybe.
Yes, those are just the parcels of the properties. So.
Yeah, it would seem to me that maybe it makes sense to plat it at least up through that, or that southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, and then perhaps we should provide the document, this old document, to the state's attorney, and maybe we should void that document with that platting. So in the future, somebody's not going, what's this mean?
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes some sense to clean that up at this time.
Yeah, I think it would. And I just did want to show up because I knew we were going to plat a wider width right away, kind of over the top of that, to kind of clean that. But everything from there north, it's a little, it's kind of, like I said, it's not very well written, but it does exist. So
Well, yeah, but that's why if we get rid of it,
and to me, it was kind of confusing because
what's it mean?
they're doing a perpetual easement on a section line. So that to me, again, I thought it was a little unnecessary, but they did. For some reason.
Well, yeah, that was, to me, it raises the question as whether they got something more than the section line.
Correct.
Read something like that.
Right. And that's why I stated there was no width stated, because that to me would have made sense. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because if the right already existed, the courts would say it must have granted some additional right.
Right. Yep.
So, I mean, I guess I would lean towards let's plat that going north and let's get an agreement that we can file where the county passes at the same time, terminating. I don't know. I'd be let's. Have you looked at that document, Tanya?
It's been a while since I looked at it.
Maybe we should take a look at it and see if we shouldn't get it just terminated as part of this deal. Unless I wonder if it was off of the section line somewhere. The question I always ask before we terminate, we got to ask what we're supposedly trying to accomplish at the time.
Is that 22 or 23, Talbot? 546.22?
On the
plat.
On the plat. I gotta get back to it. Hang on. 546.22.
Page 22.
This is what it is.
And there was two of them. One was a temporary, so I didn't even pay attention to that one. It was almost like a temporary construction easement. But this one was actual, right-of-way donation is what it was stated. But
yeah, it's point.
It does have an acreage, and when you calculate the acreage and the length, to me it worked out really close to a 30-foot wide strip. So, but to me again, it was a little confusing on why, being on a section line, maybe it's because they did work there and they just wanted to make sure that it was theirs. So at the time, and there are some drainage in there with culverts and some pretty big improvements in there back in the day. So,
I don't know. Thoughts on the issues I'm bringing up? Staff.
So I kind of read it. So there's the agreement for the other one. This is the temporary easement that goes with it. That was also found. So that's why we kind of stopped the road at the quarter line, was just because of these agreements that were being shown.
Because those are north of the quarter line, right?
North.
Because of Bear Butte, supposed to dedicate it.
Yes.
No thoughts? I mean.
Well, I'm getting a history lesson. Did I really see dot matrix and carbon paper up there?
Yeah. I'll get you. We'll get you a federal land grant from 1890. That'll really make your day. The handwritten ones. When you have to read the handwritten ones from 1890, those are always fun.
Yeah, on the plat showing, we are dedicating 66 foot, so an extra 27 feet of width there. So.
60 or 60? Yeah, it's dedication of that. 60, yeah.
60 foot total, yep.
Those easements easement agreements aren't on that quarter southwest, those donations. It was just on the north.
On the northwest quarter, right, on the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, but we have this plat impacts, the way this plat reads is it's part of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter is impacted. And generally that's where then you would drive your dedication, because that's the area being impacted. That's your remnant. So And then comments? I mean, this is a bit off the variance discussion, but
No, but we're
because
getting
he's up for the plat, we can talk about that when we get back to the plat, I suppose. But
So, Tanya, you didn't see any issues at all with what they're requesting to do on the land that raised a question or a red flag in how we want to have development go forth?
No, they extended the road that runs east off of Bear Butte. They extended that. That's why we to cul-de-sac, and the road that would serve Lot 2 would be out of the drainage. So we kind of, that's why one of the variances, the dead end of 1320, came about, because we made it a safer road.
yeah, 'cause before they were cutting across the drainage, and
Yep.
we wanted him out of the drainage, so he's in a bit longer.
Shannon has done building setbacks, so everything is up high enough. Extra work on elevations and stuff to make sure there were buildable sites. Bear Butte Water is has written a letter stating that they can drill their own wells instead of tying on. That was a requirement that we requested.
So if he's going to go with his own well, are we looking at individual wells for each piece, or are we looking at a community well?
lot.
Each lot? Okay.
And the lots are big enough for, under our ordinance, for individual wells.
We also increased the lot size. I think before we had 5 acres, and I know the planning board had directed a little larger lots if we were going to be doing accommodated west off of the deferral plats from January.
Okay, so we got 4 variance requests. First of them is, and the reason that I discussed this right-of-way issue before we started voting on it is because it talks about no additional right-of-way, where I'm talking about dedicating the additional right-of-way up on the top. But this is the no additional right-of-way, because this is a cross on the other section on land he doesn't own. So if somebody makes a motion to approve this, the clarification should be that he doesn't have to dedicate right-of-way on the land he doesn't own.
For the west side of the section line.
Or the west side of the section line, either or. So that would be my thought.
Yep.
So, is there a motion? Discussion? Anybody further?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request, let me think about this. Now C's wearing off on me. I feel like Cece sitting here. I make a motion that we...
I know, I heard that.
Yeah. That we approve of the variance to not dedicate the west half as required by the ordinance.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Go to the next one. Private access road serving 2 residential lots. The allowable dead-end lane.
I will motion that we respectfully recommend variance request for private access road serving 2 residential lots, not to exceed maximum.
Yeah, it's not a recommendation. We're passing this.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I recommend we approve the private access road serving.
You're making a motion to approve.
Yeah, sure.
I'll
It's a
second.
big Gordian knot. You gave me like 4 pieces here. I'm still trying to juggle just the 2 in my head.
I'll second what Michael said.
All right.
Trying to say, but
C is wearing off on everybody.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Since
Man.
we're picking on C, we're throwing daggers over there.
All right. Motion to authorize a private access road serving 2 residential lots that exceeds maximum allowable length. And it's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Next one.
hey, Scott, you take this one. My voice is killing me.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. This would be the variance request so as to not require improvement of Bear Butte Road to meet the county's specifications. So, discussion on the motion, discussion on the item, or questions on the item? If not, somebody make a motion.
To Fair Butte Road to be brought up to spec.
Oh, look at that. You guys are giving C a bad time, and she cuts right to it.
Good job.
You know, I might not say I'm right, but at least I start something.
Yes, been moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that passes then unanimously. Then, final variance request. This matches the one we're recommending to the commission. Yes, well, no, slightly different because it's driving surface, but this would be the variance request that would allow that the 40-foot private accesses. Those are the accesses that run north off the 66. Basically, what we're referring to as the driveways, rather than 66.
Oh, let's let Christian do one.
So moved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
You're going to allow this
You're
circus
losing
today.
control, Talbot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, yes. It's the story of my life. All right. So I'm assuming your motion is to allow the 40-foot wide private access easement.
I make a motion to allow the variance stated.
Okay. There's a second.
I'll second.
Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll see you guys back in just a bit.
All right, thank you.
We'll go, can I get a motion to leave the Board of Variance?
So moved.
Second.
And moved and seconded to leave the Board of Variance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to old business, final plats of lots 1 through 12, Block 1. Dewey,
Yes, sir.
man himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ryan Kasky. Mike Tui, Tui Design Group.
Go ahead and tell us what you think we're doing.
We are here to ask for acceptance on the final plat for the last 12 lots of Timberwood Park State Subdivision Number 2. We were here in January, I believe it was toward the end of January, with preliminary plat. Went back, got all the requests taken care of, and now we're ready to present it to you and ask to approve the final plat.
This is my question to staff. Guys, maybe I misremember this, but that section line on the north side, I thought we had some discussion about whether they need to dedicate that or not.
Yes, and they did dedicate it.
He's got dashed lines on that plat, so I don't know.
So the dash line is part of the full dedication.
Okay.
On the bottom, it says dedicated public right-of-way, 2.87 acres. That includes that portion also, and then Frontier Loop and the east side of Timber Creek Drive is dedicated.
Yeah, I'm going to ask that plat. I mean, he's got. Oh, so that 2.87 in the gray then includes that whole view.
Yep. It's all of the east side, the little bit on the north side, the cul-de-sac, and then all of Frontier Loop on the south side.
I get it now. I was looking at that top, and dedication is down at the bottom.
Fine, but the dedication is on the bottom. So everything that's this dashing color line type
Yeah,
is
that
everything
cross
that's-
hatch kind
that
of look.
cross hatching is to be dedicated.
Okay. All right, well, that's the only question I had. Other questions? Comments? Any infrastructure requirements or bonding issues associated with passing this? Roads in existence, I think your water line's already there.
The road got widened, 28 foot. The shoulder on the east side's a little soft, but weather. I was out there today and I noticed the power line is being installed currently. Is that correct, Ryan? Or could you give me an update on the power line with the utility ditch?
The power line for the development is installed. They're running future 3-phase out.
Oh, okay.
To get past the flat.
Everything was hydro-seeded. Water lines are in. They addressed the drainage, so we'll have drainage that comes through lots 1 through 4. We'll have, there's a detail that there's drainage through there. They picked all that up. We'll have culverts will be designed for those.
Does that flow north through there?
There's a high spot in 6. All of the infrastructure was in. There was a few improvements like the widening of the road that needed to be done. Everything else was complete. Most of it complete 20 years ago.
Did a driveway spacing diagram so staff knows where driveways go. I have your. This is the.
That's drainage basin map, and that's culverts, grading for the driveways.
Ones that go through lots 1 through 5. So everything we asked for did come back through. Maneuver as a plat. Geotech, we did ask on the final plat. We do have some notes that were added. That utility lot that was in the
Lot 12
corner.
Yep, we added a note on top per request. Oops, I'm not on the plat, sorry.
Something about a utility building, 1, 2, and 3. Yep.
Yeah, it's
So we
lot
added-
12, it's note 1.
Note 1 lot. We added notes 1 through 3 onto the final plat.
AET went out and did some core drillings, 2 or 3 drillings on the lots, and has recommendations or came up with some stuff on the thoughts. They also went in and did 3 cores on the road. There's 7+ inches of gravel on the road, on the existing road. So everything's there and ready for you.
I just want to verify. I'm looking at your CCRs, your covenants, and stuff like that, and I'm looking on page 32 of the attachment, annexation of additional properties to these covenants. The developer reserves the right to plat additional phases of the Timberwood Park Estates, and it looks like it goes from phases 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, a little bit higher. You're currently at number 4, correct? As far as your phases?
No, these are the phases that are there.
These are all 7 phases.
Timberwood Park Estate Subdivision 2 is this plat.
Okay, and I believe I recall reading something that you guys have water that will be able to supply at least 230 dwellings.
250.
And you currently have about 134 houses.
137. I think it was
134 plus these, so yeah.
So it's safe to say that you're going to look at expanding from here on out after this one is complete? Or you're going to give all that extra water to the other people?
No. I believe there'll be future subdivisions as far as Timberwood Park. My understanding is after that, that subdivision is done, there'll be a different.
And if I recall, one of the issues we had is that when you guys did your master plan, it was before some of these ordinances came into effect. So we all understand that anything you do from this point on has to meet our current ordinances or receive variances and approval. So we don't have to. I remember you, sir. I didn't mean to be kind of harsh last time, but I just want to make sure that we don't have to
We've talked about
reinvent
it.
the wheel. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, as I understand, this kind of finishes out the master plan that we've had. And so, just time for I'm assuming you're going to master plan that stuff going to the east?
We do have a master plan on the stuff going to the east already.
That we've approved as county?
Yeah. 20 years ago.
But we don't have a record of it, so you better get it to us.
Yeah, I can provide all that.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to take a look, because, yeah, I'm with you. I don't remember it either.
It's not in, I don't have it, and, well, we didn't have computer systems like that we do now.
Yeah, so, why don't you get it to us ASAP then?
All right.
Because, we'll probably have to try, if you got anything, any ideas what meetings it was approved, and maybe we can run it down and see. But let's try to get it figured out before you're walking in for another, chopping up some more land. And, 20 years, no guarantee that we're gonna.
Yeah, we did install major infrastructure for this entire, we're talking the access roads and access points and planning on, this development. So the infrastructure we put in is not supported by just these lots.
Well, yeah, okay, we'll take a look at that, but why don't you get us your plan, since Tanya and I were talking about this the other day, that we didn't have anything beyond this. In fact, we've talked about it the last time, I think. So.
A master plan for this area?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
It was done by Bear Lodge.
Okay. All right. Okay, other questions?
Tanya, could you explain to me where the fire hydrants are for these 12 lots?
One down on the intersection, yeah.
One right in here, isn't that?
That's correct.
One here, and then I believe.
To your right, in the blue, right there-ish. And if you go down to the bottom of the plat, to the left slightly, there's one there. The one on both ends and one in the middle.
Yeah, I can attest to that, Christian. I actually went out there and took some photographs and stuff of the development.
Just out of, what is the size of the fire line in there? Is that like a 6-inch line, or?
A 6-inch loop. Comes from both sides. The Piedmont Fire Department has flowed and tagged and numbered those. So they're part of their system. We've actually helped fight fires off premise with our hydrants and our water system.
Thank you.
Each phase, as it gets built out, each phase has to be submitted to DANR. DANR is going to require that there's 400, that the spacing on the fire hydrants is between 400 and 450 feet.
Is there, I'm not familiar, is there water storage there? Do you hold a certain number of gallons somewhere?
Yeah.
There's 2 tanks on the system.
One tank.
One tank, it's kind of in the southeast corner. Or,
on the southwest side, about midway.
Go where it says, I'm not very good. Go right in there somewhere, where your mouse was.
There's another utility lot, right?
Right where it says Timber Howler Court.
Go above that, just slightly to the left.
Right in there.
You zoom in, there's a water tank, you'll see.
Like 225,000 gallons.
I'm assuming they are active. There's water constantly flowing through, replacing. They're not just tanks full of water, correct?
Yeah, it's actively used and tested monthly. State certified operator. I'm not. I have a state certified operator hired.
Who's doing your work out there now?
Sage.
Al?
Yep. So he has test points throughout the system, and he has a raw water test point. And everything's state approved as far as where he tests and the parameters he needs to meet.
Okay.
Or that 1 acre thing.
Other questions? Yeah, as far as, quite frankly, for the new members on the board, as far as developments go, Ryan's done a really pretty nice job.
Thank you.
Occasionally he and I don't see eye to eye, but
that's all right.
We do it graciously.
Have a good debate.
So, yeah, from a water system standpoint, the 250,000 gallons is far and superior for what most people put in for storage.
Easier to do it once.
Yes, Mr. Toohey's worked a couple of those. But he and I haven't always.
I have a developer that had 1,500 acres, and I'm not going to develop this portion. And then 2 weeks later, he developed it, and he now has a 50,000 gallon tank and two 40,000 gallon tanks because he couldn't make up his mind.
Yeah.
Just do it once and do it right.
Yeah. All right. Other questions?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, this is final.
Yes.
Correct.
Have any public comments or anything like that?
Any public comments? Anybody from the audience wishes to speak to this plat? All right.
Motion to approve final plats of Lot 1 through 12, Block 1, Timberwood Park Estates subdivision.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this as final plat. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
They opposed? Passes
So this one will be seen at the county commission.
because of the size, yeah.
Yep, because of the size. Yep.
But because there is no, it would be, this will be on consent then, or not on consent? Because there's
The resolution.
resolution, okay.
So can we hit April 13th then? This coming Tuesday? Are you all right with it being on that?
I'm all right with it, if you're all right with it.
I'm all right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
So will that be on the consent that they need to be there?
Well,
for
so
that,
part
or-
of the thing is, I think it goes by the number of lots. I can't remember what
It's 8 lots
Yeah,
or
that-
more. And they
Yeah,
have-
then I think it actually is not on consent. It has to be voted separately when it's over 8 lots, even though we voted it.
So they would need to be at the, or at least one
Well,
of
I
them
mean,
present, or-
yeah, you don't need to be, but if a question comes up, I mean,
No, I'll be there. If it was on consent and it wasn't gonna need, if it wasn't gonna.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that they move them pretty fast, but generally we don't take them off unless there's a commissioner that has a concern about it. Commissioner Reed sometimes will ask questions.
I have a learning lesson skipping. I didn't want to skip it, but that'd be all right. I'll come.
All right, then let's go to the next final plats of lots 122R and 124R. They are also in Timberwood. Is there somebody here to speak to that?
It's baseline.
And then yet again, this is the combination where they're absorbing a lot? Is that this one?
Yes.
Any comments on it, Shannon?
No, everything's same as last, so no comments here.
Anything for any?
Structure of lot.
Everybody here wants to speak to this before we vote on it. Seeing none, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Do you have a question, Mike?
Well, I'm looking at Article 5. It says existing conditions of approval. I'm guessing this is a comment from Tanya. Is that the final plat is contingent on a note being added to the plat that no further subdivision of tracks C1 and C2 unless the private access and easements are brought up to Meade County road standards?
No.
That's in 5D.
5C. Oh, we're on 5B. My bad.
I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what is he talking
like, we're getting rid of lots.
One little mistake.
Is that really supposed to be on there?
Yeah, I was looking all over the plat for the comments. So
Different applicant.
You're all good.
Next one.
all right.
Christian.
So yeah. Well, we'll call that doing a Mike instead of doing a C from now on. So, all right. All those in favor of approving this as final plat signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, passes. Thank you, Shannon. Final plats of C1 and C2.
Okay.
Mike, do you have a question on this one?
I will.
Okay. So both road, the private access easement coming into the property has been redone. Gathering signatures, as well as the road maintenance agreement between track C1 and C2. So those will be filed. Obviously, right after the plat is filed, that'd be at the control of the planning director, right? Okay, so both those agreements are big contingencies of final plat approval upon this plat. So just so those are in place, again, they will be recorded with the plat. So, and then also the note on the plat that Mike was saying, we added for staff requirement. Is that one on the B?
5.
Okay, yep, on 5. On surveyor note 5, so. And that is it. Any questions? That's all I have.
I'm not an issue on this plat, but maybe come up with some other language that references Ordinance 10 or the county ordinance in place at the time of the replat or further subdivision. Because I don't know whether it's 5 years from now we might
It could change
our numbers.
Yep.
So
Okay.
probably should be more general. I'm not going to worry about it on this one.
Okay. No, that's a good point.
Generally, the law is if the laws change and numbers change, it still is enforceable, but it keeps somebody from yelling at Tanya. Yeah, just some language that says that, or as to Ordinance 10 or the applicable statute or ordinance at the time of the
further state. Yeah. Okay.
Of the further subdividing. Yeah, it just sometimes you get numbering and people think that means that they don't have to do it.
I agree. Yep.
All right. Did we make a motion on this one?
I had a quick question, please.
Okay, go ahead.
So I understand is there an existing trailer on this property?
Yes.
Okay. And is that required to be removed before CO, or is it based on if that is split in two, that's no longer necessary?
Right, the variance was based on, he could build a home while the trailer house remained. You either have to replat or remove the trailer house and plat the parcel. Plat does not go through, then he does have to remove the trailer house. That was granted.
Okay. That's the way I read it too. I just confirming it.
Correct.
Okay, other questions? Is there anybody here to speak to this plat? None, and if there's further questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I recommend approval of variance and associated documentation for the final plat of track C1 and C2 of Wyland subdivision.
Motion to approve this as final plat of C1, C2. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Scott. Discussion on the motion. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously. Back to Double Diamond Estates, preliminary plat. The one we were just discussing on the variances, this is on the plat, but now that they have the variances. Yeah, with the exception of the issue that I've raised as to whether that dedication on the side of the road should go up through the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, since that's an impacted property description. So I think it should. It's my position, and then we can if we can kind of figure out that dedication thing, maybe we can clean that up at the same time through agreement. Final. Got to be a little careful that we don't. I don't know whether that.
So, Talbot, the comment you're making doesn't fit into one of the 6 recommendations that's already been given for this?
Yeah, it does. It wasn't addressed by any of them because the comment I am making is if you go to the plat, go to the plat, he dedicates the land that's in the north half of the southwest quarter along the road. they stop the dedication at the half section line and do not dedicate that portion, the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter. And I think you should dedicate it all the impacted area. Well, it's a little bit longer than that strip because that's just how he's got the plat.
Yeah, it'd be
because it's
13, 1320.
Yeah. Yeah, because it'd be the southwest quarter, the northwest quarter, so it'd be along the edge of a 40.
So would staff be copacetic with that? Since I'm going off your recommendations also?
Yep,
Okay.
and we'll research that book and page with the assistant attorney also to see if we vacated or
is that filed against that whole half section or just against that quarter or what? That description. Well, let's take a look at that because I think maybe we can clean that up here at the same time, so there's not a question where if somebody does something with that later as to whether what's dedicated or where that, because that'll show up as an exception on your title work.
Mm-hmm.
So we could clear that potentially. Probably could do like a little vacating agreement that just acknowledges that it doesn't vacate any part of the section line as it exists.
Donated to the county, is that something the county would have to?
Right, I mean the commission would have to approve the agreement.
Should I just take it to the commission level or do I need to start with the planning board?
I mean, we could do it as part of like the final plat.
Okay.
That's the way I would do it.
Yep.
Is that if once they file a final plat, you file the document right after. I don't know, just a thought. I mean, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, but
No, it makes sense to get, if we're going to dedicate, why not get rid of it? You have to clear it up. So.
Other discussions on this plat? Christian?
So are you also going to be making a note on this one regarding your recommendation of having the developer provide documentation that no further? I can't read it if it's already on here. You had it in a note.
It's a standard document that comes in with final plat that they sign. It's a standalone document.
So that's not included in this packet?
No, it is not. It will be included in the final.
Okay.
Other questions on the plat? Is there anybody here to speak to this plat today?
I make a motion to approve the plat with the recommendation. Whole plat? Shannon knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you want you want to dedicate the section line and the additional right of way on all the property described as impacted by the plat.
Through the southwest and the northwest quarter.
Yep.
And then research on
Yeah, let's leave that off. Let's figure that off. I mean, we've talked about it, but I think it makes good sense to clean it up with the dedication. But maybe we'll look at it and for some reason, yeah, it's too much of a hassle to deal with or something. But yeah, so if the two of you will take a look at it and figure it out, you can send it to Ken, and then I'll look at it too. Shannon, I'll leave it up to you to talk to your client, explain to him, and see that formal vacating of those old ones.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Yeah, did you get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Staff, anything else?
No.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Yeah, let's take a be back at 5 to 3. Sort of a 10-minute break. so. Oh, you know. All right, everybody back and ready to go? Let's go to new business A, preliminary plat lots 1A and 1B. Lot. Shannon, go ahead. You?
Yep. Okay, Shannon, baseline surveying again. So what we have here is a plat where we are platting off. I gotta look at my notes here. 10 acre lot. We're platting additional lot off to the south for a family member, daughter and son-in-law. So, but what we do, we have an existing well that we're in the process. It's never had a pump in it, so they are placing a pump, the pump back in it. For years, they never had the pump in there because it just flowed. So what we're doing is basically we're looking for preliminary plat approval, contingent upon. I do have the well share agreement in front of me, signed by the owners, and then all that's left before a final is just have the well pump installed, and then provide you guys with the report from the well driller and everything. So existing well on site, like I said, been there since these folks have lived there and owned the place. So we are dedicating on the north side. We're dedicating additional road or dedicated right of way to Elk Creek Road. And on this plat, 139th was already dedicated at the time these lots were created, so we don't have to dedicate any additional right-of-way or any right-of-way on 139th. We have a small drainage easement running through the south lot that we show, and other than that, I think that's it on this one. So.
Yeah, because your information on the well doesn't support the two houses under our ordinance right now, correct?
I don't know the way I read it.
Well, I thought that you had to have 5 gallons per minute for each, though, not just for
It needs
one.
to be for each, yep.
Yeah, you only have a 5-gallon period right now, but you haven't put the pump in it.
Right, correct, yep, that's correct. So
You also need a variance to not upgrade 139.
Yep. Oh,
That's the one I
okay.
missed.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay,
going through it.
okay, yep.
You know, and I'm personally reluctant to grant that variance because the increased activity, and I expect that we're going to get more subdividing on that road.
Okay.
South.
All right.
I mean, that's my personal comment. I thought I would throw that out there. Number one, since you didn't mention it, even if you had mentioned it, I tend to think I should tell people up front where I'm reluctant to grant it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my kind of comments on it. I'm not a big fan of these private wells, chopping up and relying on a private well. So I'm going to want to make sure that everything passes for sure on that.
Yes, oh yeah, no, I know that would absolutely be have to be provided. So.
Other comments, questions?
There any floodplain issues in that second lot? I mean,
No, that's a very, very small drainage, but we showed it. It's just a small existing drainage that runs through the property that won't be, it'll remain the same. The building site for that lot is north of that, so, of that drainage.
So maybe you can educate me then on your notes. It says it's a 10-foot wide major drainage easement. Why would it say major if you're describing it as a minor?
I guess that's just a statement that I will always use as a major, because I figured if it's a drainage, it's a drainage. It's major. Because if there's water that flows through it, and we acknowledge it, to me it's a major drainage easement, so.
Come off was 139.
So a question do you have on here that nothing about the district schools being notified for bus service. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yep, we did receive that. Yep. It was kind of last minute.
Last minute, so it's not on there.
So you know that Harlow's has not got the contract next year then?
And that's what was kind of taking a little bit, but we figured Harlow's has it now, so Harlow had to be the one that, because we were looking into maybe talking to the bus company that will have it, but that was one decision we just, but.
I think they're called Dakota Bus Company or something.
Dakota, yeah.
Other questions or thoughts for Shannon? So, excuse me. Rest board understands where I'm coming from, where I would be reluctant to pass the variance on the road surface. If you look, after you pass this lot, looks like one person owns 80 then, that could be readily developed. It's going to put a lot more traffic coming off of Elk Creek Road down that road, and then that gets to that AR development then right after that. And so the difficulty you have is if, that's kind of like, where do you start requiring people to start rebuilding roads? The other issue, the reason I'm reluctant to get away from the driving surface is, especially because it's the corner with Elk Creek, if there's any place you need a wider driving surface, it's going to be where you're meeting. So, I'm throwing that out there, Shannon, so you can consider it, talk to it with people that's out there. So other thoughts or comments?
Were there issues or comments brought up at the form of intent for this that were subsequently addressed, or what was the result of that?
We never did. We never did come with the form of intent. Oh. Yep.
Okay. Staff had some recommendations. Anything besides those?
No.
Okay. There's a geotech requirement.
Oh, I have that. Oh, I thought I sent that. That is done. Yeah, that was done. Quite a way. So.
My only comment is, as we start chopping up these 9-acre lots, if they do another one, fire suppression is going to be, so there won't be more subdivision within the area of these lots.
Yeah, within this subdivision.
Yep.
Yep. There's a hill in there, Shannon. Where's that hill hit?
That hill is further south.
I know it's further south, but do you know how far? Because I'm just trying to figure out whether you have a drive
or go other way. Yeah, it goes south now. Is that driveway at the top of the hill? That goes over to... Okay.
Oh, is that Dale's driveway?
No, Dale's
right there.
The big
Right
house.
there.
Oh.
That's at the bottom of the hill?
Yeah.
And then, so where's the top of the hill? It would be...
Keep going.
Gotta go south.
Yeah.
There's a hill.
Oh, south. Okay.
South of there.
South. Big one. Next driveway in is the mansion on the hill.
Is he's on the top, right? Yeah. Okay. So.
He's
Oh, good Bruce Springsteen song. So.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody can kind of see the layout of that. Could you back that out one more? All right. So what was your question again?
I didn't have any.
Oh, okay. Thought there was something else you were asking about, but okay. All right. Other questions? Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat today? Okay.
I was just a little confused when you talked about the fire suppression. You're saying that if they get a chance to do this, that people behind them or around them will have to. So are they beating the finish line, crossing before the race is over, or are we opening up a can of worms here?
Well, her comments, we've had run into this a couple of times where you get these people where you have a subdivision that didn't require like fire suppression, and then all of a sudden somebody's dividing within that subdivision. Now the number of lots within that subdivision would require fire suppression.
So ordinance 767 that's up here. So that'll be considered a modified density.
The density changes.
The density changes. So your subdivision 6 to 12 lots requires a 10,000 gallon storage tank or a dry hydrant system.
Okay.
So a Bakken, if one of those other lots splits again, that's 6 lots. It will kick in this ordinance.
Yeah, because we had this with somebody, it might have been right before you got on, where they went to subdivide within a subdivision, and we're like, well, you're going to have to install this for the entire subdivision then.
Well, I'm sure that made them really happy, but
Yeah, well, I think it made them not subdivide. Is what it ended up
well,
doing.
so I guess what I'm trying to really ask here is that are these folks ahead of the wave, or if we do this, we basically lock everybody into their current situation, but I don't necessarily want to penalize these people for being the ones first to do it.
It's just,
so that
hey,
subdivision,
if they have to bring the road up too, that might be their part of the cost.
And what's to say that somebody else living around them's not going to turn right around next month and tell us that they want to subdivide this stuff?
so that's the problem when you have a subdivision. You have 9 acres that were granted, lots that were granted off of a certain density requirement to have wells. So now that they split it in half, that lot 2B, if they ever sold it outright to somebody else, they cannot drill a well because it does not meet requirements. So we're taking a density and you're remodifying it. That was not what was initially approved by the planning board. So this is where it's a modification to an existing subdivision.
I mean, if they start to change it around, it kicks in different rules.
I can understand that. I just don't know if, to be honest, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. On one hand, they're private landowners. They want to do this. We don't have zoning. On the other hand, I know that if we do this, it's going to put a lot of people maybe in an uncomfortable situation where they're not going to be able to do anything like this around them, from what you're telling me, based on this density definition.
We have several like this right now that have this issue.
So
either they come in for a variance or they work with existing 6 lots and everyone goes in together and makes it happen.
Or they hook onto some central water system that's going by that gets them out of it.
So we don't have a real stable precedent, is what you're telling me. We kick this domino over. We don't necessarily know how it's going to roll down. And who's going to
what would happen is then the next person comes along will have to install the fire suppression.
You know,
to get the plat.
They may not be on somebody's Christmas card list then, but I just don't know if we should deny this because they're making this decision before this stuff is going to happen.
They meet the requirements as of today with 5 lots. So that's why it's being shown in front of you, because they do meet the requirements right now.
Looking at those other lots, high likelihood they wouldn't. Into that.
Well, with that new TIF development and all the other stuff going on and what's going to look like it's going to be coming out there, I'm just wondering if these guys beat the punch.
Okay, so to address Mike's issue, I see that we've done the standard, and Shannon, you and I had this conversation. We've done the notification to the standard surrounding. But I think that the 3 that are in the subdivision add up at the other, Peterson and I, to get a letter before we do the final plat.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, for notification. Okay.
I know it's asking one more step, but
Yeah.
if it's going to be their subdivision.
Correct. Yep. No, I see your point there. Oh, yep.
Yeah. Further questions, comments? Might have already asked this. Oh, I think I already asked if anybody else was here to speak to this plat, and I didn't get any takers. Besides you coming up and making that clarification, that's fine. So, any questions for any further questions? Not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary. We've got the well issues all the way through with the understanding.
Is that something that we can come back as a variance, or do we have to do that before prelim? Before final?
So the question is, C has to finish her motion first before she's interrupted, so.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the question. You can make the motion. I mean, if you want to make the motion as a condition that they actually bring it up to standard, you could make that.
That's the motion I make.
And then the staff's other recommendations. Updated well production, note on final plat, requiring geotech.
But that effectively eliminates a variance request in the future for that.
Well, I mean, so that's the question. So I guess I have this battle. Do you want to tell them? If I'm a no on the variance, I'm just going to be a no. I don't think there's any way you can convince me otherwise. So if C and I are both no's, if one other person's a no, there's no way they can get the variance. So I mean, they can still pitch the variance, but they have to pay to file a variance. They have to get Shannon to go through it all. So I mean, that's kind of we could pass it today. You could approve the preliminary plat and require that they meet all requirements of the ordinances. They could then come ask for a variance. But what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to let them know that I'm not going to vote for that variance. I understand that you're going to need that variance. You can come ask for it. I'm a no. C's a no. So if you want to,
but not knowing. I guess my point is not knowing the condition of the road. Because we pat, what if it is solid 24-foot wide road? We're going to add 2 feet to each side of it just to make it.
Yeah, I'm going.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, I'm a no.
But Shannon, this road goes down to Friends. Trying to get my map.
Yeah, to AR Ranch.
Yeah, it goes
and
down
plus
to,
there's an 80 that's undeveloped 80 right below it. And frankly, Shannon, probably my biggest issue is here is right on Elk Creek.
No, I agree with that.
And
I mean, if we were taking this and making 3 lots just for them to sell for profit.
Yeah, I understand.
I would have looked at it different, but.
No, but that's why I also want to tell you up front where I'm coming from. But I can't look at it different. I mean, I got to look at what I expect is going to happen next couple of years down there.
molasses in January, so I'm going to go up.
Yeah.
Or there's an accident.
Yeah.
Well, on Bear Butte Road, there must be a lot of homes going in there too, because we're widening it to 120 foot wide.
Well,
so
that's a difference.
That's an argument that could be made on every one of these plats.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a different. If that's, I mean, we got to look. Not every area is the same. I voted. Just finished voting for variances there. If you want, the position I should be taking, if you want me to be consistent, always vote for him to go 28. And that's what you're telling me to do.
It's your choice. So.
Well, it is a choice, but I got to look at the factors surrounding it. So, but I'm looking at the factors. I see this as different than the variance I granted on Bear Butte. That's not in an area where I'm getting 50, 60, 70 houses developed over the next. Or is it touch a paved road that sees a lot of traffic?
So I'm understanding 139th, I mean, it only really would provide reasonable access to this lot and the other one to the east. I mean, there's no other lots in this particular subdivision that would even be able to utilize that road, correct?
You're correct, because this subdivision is everything.
Yeah.
Sort of an access. Off of that subdivision.
Just for the record, I plan on voting yes for this. I think it's, as long as they've met the requirements of the code and for preliminary purposes have addressed staff's concerns, I feel like they've at least moved past a preliminary plat. Now the final plat may be a different story once, you know, some of the cost figures come in and requirements for the actual road construction, but at this point I plan on voting yes for this.
Well, I gotta admit, I'm still on the fence, and this is the thing I'm looking at. Mentioned about sending out letters so everybody understands that if this goes through, everybody else is locked in unless they're gonna pony up. And I wouldn't be surprised, because I don't know who lives around her, if there's other people saying, well, we're mowing this, and holy crap, we better get there and put in our request before that request gets approved, so we beat them to the punch. And I really don't think these people should be punished or beaten to the punch. But again, Talbot brings up very good points. We have to look down the road as well as on the road. And we've had some experience with 220th and what's going on out that way. We know that they're going to be definitely building out there, and there's still the possibility that it might still punch, if I'm correct, punch through to Haynes Avenue, if that's still a possibility. And yeah, there's going to obviously increase a lot more traffic. And we've had people here testifying to us that 139 sometimes turns into a speedway for people trying to get, see the eyes.
Yeah,
so
the sheriff was out there this morning. I would have been in my robe. I would have went out and offered my driveway for him to sit in. And just sit here at 6:30, 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So it's definitely a Gordian knot. Do we punish the private landowner for thinking ahead and getting ahead of this? Or do we keep in mind that sooner or later its standards are going to be met because we know what's coming down that road, and ordinary folks are going to have to suffer for that? If there's a way to cut this nut, bro, if they go through with this letter thing and let everybody else know about it, and then we do have other people bite at that apple, is there a way we can have it that they get the first option to refuse? That based on what we said that they have to do in order to be allowed to do that, that they get the first right to say no before any other neighbors around them are like, well, if they're not going to do it, we're going to do it before we have to do all this other stuff, like everybody else will have to do now that this has been done.
So I think you made a motion, C, but I don't know if it had a second. So why don't you restate your motion again and let's see if
I said no. No, I do know what I said. Do you want to restate or you want me to?
Oh, you're going to do it, Mike?
Kinda. Motion to approve preliminary plat with the understanding that the owners get a letter that 139 brought up to county standards, geotech is provided, and the well share is approved.
Yeah. All right, so that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and second. Discussion on the motion. Christian, do you have oh. Other comment? I thought you meant he had a comment. He seconded it. Okay. All right. Discussions on the motion.
So that I understand, on the 139th, okay, if we go ahead and approve this as it's been presented, folks can come back and request a variance on that, or no? That it will be approved. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's what C says, that that's a requirement for them to get the plat, is they have to improve 139th. Now, they can ask for the variance, but I think what both C and I are saying that we're not going to vote for a variance. That's more so the people know what they might have to do to get this done. So, and it's always the kind of, the difficulty when somebody's bringing the plat forward first and then is going to seek the variances when they're not brought forth together, that, if we approve the plat, somebody might think, oh, well, then they don't understand why they need the variance. So, like I said, I try to be upfront with what I'm seeing on these variance issues.
I don't.
All right, discussions on the motion. If the only comment I make, I'm going to vote for the motion, but I want to make it clear, if a variance comes before me, I don't plan on voting for a variance for anything less than full surface. Any other comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes. All right, preliminary plats of lots 2A, 2B, and 2C of Overlander subdivision. This is the one we've seen a number of variances for, if I recall correctly here.
Looking for preliminary plat approval.
Okay. Gentlemen, anything you want to say on the plat?
I don't believe so. No.
So is the thought on the plat to use the approach where it's listed /L approach right now? Your microphone on, sir.
Let me push there.
There you go.
That sounds much better. There are approaches into the existing house, and then there's approach for lot 2B. There's not the original portion. There is not an approach as of right now into the 52 acres in the 2A lot. For 2B, and then it's down in the corner there. That will be the access into that lot, and then 2C, as there's right there. You can see we had them draw in the driveway, so you can see how that house is accessed now.
Might have missed this, but you do have an existing access into lot 2B. That centerline approach is existing.
Yes.
It's an ag approach, so they might have to upgrade it.
We'll look at it when it
likely
comes
would
in
have
for
to
a
upgrade it.
You remember, Cameron, what size culvert pipe is?
24-inch concrete culvert.
In both approaches?
Okay. Questions? Okay, no questions?
I think Mike has one here, or a
I'm ready for the motion if you're ready.
Perfect. Go for it, Mike.
I motion that we approve the preliminary plats of lots 2A, 2B, and 2C of the Oberlander subdivision.
Any conditions on it, such as the one we put on the variance?
Oh crap, they're on the other page. Yeah. Submission of yeah, there's like 4 of them here listed. I don't have to read them out, do I? Variance is already approved. Submission of letter from USPS Box Elder, letter from Douglas School District, bus stop location, and approval of final plat contingent upon completing all conditions.
And then,
staff conditions.
And once you add that requirement that the plat note that no further subdividing allowed unless the road's brought up to county specifications.
Yeah, well, I can do that, sure.
I do have a question on that just for defining that, since 220th through there from Horseshoe out to Antelope Creek Road is a large distance of road, and I don't know if it does switch in different sizes on that road. So just kind of defining maybe, is that being brought up to spec across the existing land that Cameron owns here, or how are we defining the length of 220th bringing up to spec, I guess?
Yeah, I would just see it for the length of the ownership, but.
Okay. Because you do have the subdivision Royal Ranch farther to the east, and my assumption is those roads do meet the criteria now. Maybe they do or not.
Probably some of them do, some of them don't.
Okay.
Discussions on the motion.
Did we have a second?
Oh, was there a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, sorry. Moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right. Thanks for bearing with us today.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Form of intent, request to plat 10-acre parcel. Galaxy Place.
Do I go?
Yep, you may go ahead.
All right, introduce yourself and then.
My name is Sam Schleybaugh. I'm not the owner, but I am the potential buyer of the 10 acres. J.D. Amdahl and Annie, they're friends of ours, and my wife and I. He was a football coach of mine. He's kind of a mentor, but he agreed to sell the 10 acres for us to build a house on. Obviously, contingent on the plat going through and all that.
Some history on this Galaxy Place. Where this is fairly far north on this, isn't it? Staff. I mean, is there any surfacing at all past? I thought once we kind of passed that last section line, the surfacing there. Do we have any pictures of the road?
No, there's not. My understanding is from visiting highway superintendent that once you
Done.
yes, sorry. I have to turn my roads on. You pass the section line, it becomes a non-maintained county road. There's no maintenance signs out there, so it is not maintained. The highway department will not cross that bridge out there. That crosses the creeks. Galaxy Place, there's a lot of things that.
Okay, wait a second. Why won't the highway cross the bridge?
Unsafe.
Okay. Is it signed as to weight?
It's the weight and it's the weight of the bridge. Can't handle the road graders.
Yeah. And it's off the section line, it looks like, too.
Yep, so when you turn off at Galaxy Place off at 218th, the yellow line that crosses over across from Lisa McFarland's, this is Lisa McFarland's parcel. This is not within an easement. Her parcel, this little piece here shows it was a platted parcel with a right-of-way. This I could not find any record of easement. Nope, so I could not find that the section line had been moved off of the section line right away. In the process of working on Samuel's, the gentleman here has also come in for questionable plat also. So as Galaxy Place is starting to be developed from 218th north, there's a pattern showing of either 40s or 10s being platted out. And once you cross the section line here, this portion to the north is signed with no maintenance from the county road. It's a two-track trail.
It doesn't even come out anywhere.
Nope, it does not come out to Tilford. It does not tie into Tilford Road at all. So the question is, where do you start with allowing a plat that doesn't really have true legal access because I can't find an easement agreement outside the section line? When does Galaxy Place get improved? It's probably a discussion to have with McFarland's and Umdahl's to know they need to start master planning. This, in my opinion, is an area that needs to start having a master plan on both big quarters. The reason why you see the 40s is our ordinances allow a house to be built on 40 acres as long as it's adequate described. You can pull a building permit. If you cannot do that, then you have to plat. So 10 acres.
This is a 10-acre piece.
Yep, that's why he's platting. That's why he's requesting to plat. So these here that are 40s are legal for buildings. McFarland's was a plat. These two, this 40 that got split, was a plat that came through with a variance that was granted not to improve Galaxy Place. And then these are two 80s up on top.
I think those two, the issue there was those were sold separately years before or something like that, and the ownership had been broken up.
So I do know this chunk here from, this has been subdivided off. You can look online, you can find 40s, 10s, it's whatever description you want to sell. And then this one is McFarland's. I went south.
You went south and west a little bit, I think.
The McFarland's are starting to do the same thing, starting to parcel off their property as legally described, so we're going to see more plats. That one eventually can come off of 141st Street and back into it. Problem is all that drainage. You have three creek crossings and trying to get through there. So I'm just, before you spent the money on the preliminary plat and hiring a surveyor, what the board was going to require if we would grant another variance, or when do we make Galaxy Place start to be fully developed? Is it a developer's agreement with the two landowners that currently own the large parcels with master plans? We trigger it based on so much density goes north.
Is this what you were talking to us about a couple of months ago?
Yeah, this is a
it's been an ongoing issue for a long time.
Yes. And this is starting, so this area, I feel this area will be looking like Golden Valley. It's right outside of Rapid City. It's all on paved roads. I mean, you're going to end up with subdivisions.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they're a long ways from a paved road up there. So here's the problem, sir, that I see, and that is, this county doesn't have the money to build that road, and I can't see granting a variance to get more people up there until the large landowners figure out whether there's a way for them to cooperate, maybe with the county, to get it built. But county, you know, for even to get through that spot where it comes off the section line, the county has to go in there and condemn a bunch of ground to build there. And it doesn't make any sense to me for us to grant variances for somebody to build a house where somebody might block your access in the future, and there's nothing the county can do to prevent them from blocking your access. Is that spot where it goes off the section line? Landowner could decide tomorrow to not let people drive up it.
Okay.
So you know, this area. Sometimes I guess it might almost be easier to come in to most of it from Tilford. All the creek crossings, and then the bridge. You know,
the bridge, I actually kind of went under there and looked at it. I have a civil engineering degree as of May, but I mean, I know that's not a professional engineer by any means. But
congratulations on the good degree.
Thank you.
Top degree.
Thank you. And I wouldn't even try to do this if I didn't think it was safe. So, but I understand that there's no easement, and that's an issue.
Yeah, that yellow section, if you zoom in on that, Tanya, that's one of the big concerns there, where that goes off onto somebody else's property, and I don't know how well you are to go and negotiate with neighbors and get them to plat that and put that easement onto plats. Because what you'd run into potentially if you got that land up there is if you had any loans on it or mortgage, and there's not a lot of banks that would loan against that without having access to their property.
I don't get, and that's on the Cedar Grove LLC too, so I don't know who that is.
And we would be buying it straight from the landowner.
Who are you buying from?
Jared Amdahl, Jared and Annie.
I think you'd be better off to go to the south end of their properties. Even getting that mile off of Elk Creek,
Civil engineering, you could just make this whole road a project.
Yeah.
All the way up, your first project.
I'm seeing this.
Well, I was working for the DOT, but I stopped. I quit, I guess, so.
Like I said, I'm just one person on this one, but we get way too many people that come in, they buy a house, and then all of a sudden it's a wet year or something's going on and they can't get to it, and they're in here yelling at us, and you're like, it's an unmaintained road, and that's a mess up there, and I can't see giving a variance just to make it messier.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. And it's protecting you, and it's protecting any future buyers down the road that they buy that and they find out that there's not an easement there and somebody could close off that road and they can't get to their house.
Yeah. So, any other comments on this one? I mean, this is a mess up that way. I mean, the hard thing is the county, it's rebuilding Haynes. It took like several years for them to pull together enough money to rebuild Haynes. So the county really doesn't have the money to go up there and build out that area. I mean, if the county did, it would be nice to maybe build some of those roads out to open up that land to get the development closer to town. But money doesn't exist. So if the big ranchers who are chopping it up aren't going to do some improvements, it's just impossible for us to be out there just building section line roads. So,
I understand.
Yeah, I appreciate you sitting through all this mess today.
I learned a lot.
Did
so
you?
I'm thankful. So
I don't. Hopefully, you learned something good. But
I think so.
Well, congratulations again on getting your degree and career. It's that type of degree that you can always have work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, if anybody wants to drive up Galaxy, this would be a good year to drive up it because it's not wet. Here's it's wet. A bit terrifying. Just if you want to go up and take a look at it. What else you got there, staff?
That was it on this one. Just trying to.
Anything else? Yeah, the form of intent's done. Anything else?
I have a new staff member, Kathleen Spencer is here. She's in the planning department also. About three and a half weeks ago, I guess. So these form of intents are just kind of what the start of it is and just looking for some direction. I know staff and I have put a PowerPoint together, and I thought this would be a longer meeting, so it's not on the agenda, but I have some ideas coming down. What to do with all these variances. Every plat right now is carrying about 4 or 5 variances, which is pretty hefty. To classify them differently, or is it a total rewrite? I'm not.
It's a good question. I mean, some of them.
Galaxy Place, we're going to start seeing this all over the place. Grow.
Yeah, just a couple thoughts I've got, just throw them out so people can think about it. Is the amount of ground we're requiring dedication on seems to be, in some spots, pretty aggressive. So maybe that should be looked at where we don't have this blanket. If it's our future arterial, you've got to dedicate it because it might be a future arterial, but it's going to be 100 years from now.
That's kind of how I would see Galaxy being a collector road because you can go from Tilford straight down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's easy to be built out.
Yeah, but do we need 100 versus 80 in some of these versus for those some questions? I don't know, Scott, you kind of more seems to be that 120. That's a big road. So that would seem to me like 4-lane kind of stuff. 80 I think would be sufficient for 2-lane with turning lane kind of stuff. So I think maybe we're a little overly aggressive on the ordinance on that. I would, in all frankness, I would like to get rid of the chopping up 9-acre lots on private wells. I think that's very problematic. There's no way for us to confirm anything. Plus, if they ever sell those houses and they get in a neighborhood fight, I see just people not getting that. They end up coming in or they just sink another well. They just don't tell you because they're in a fight with their neighbor.
So that's what I have for next month. There's 3 form of intents, basically what you saw with this one.
On Galaxy?
Not Galaxy, but so this one here off of Running Deer Trail wants to come with 3 acres. 9 now. There's a community water system. I said you need to get there's a well here. There's a well
right off Elk Creek.
Right off of Elk Creek. This is the parcel there. They're wanting to chop it up into 3 3-acre lots. There's a community water system. Doesn't sound like they want them to let them on. Then it's a no. But that's where because I won't let them there's no more access off of Elk Creek because it's an arterial, so I can't grant another easement. I said, you gotta get easements from your approach off of road districts out there. That one that's a form of intent. There's Quail, sorry. This one here.
Quail is down off of Normal.
This one here's a 20 acre. They want to split off 10 acres in the back half and ask for an easement between these two neighbors to access the back 10. They have, Lofty Pines have a water district, and they're not going to want the water district because they don't have any more taps. But so you can go sink a well. But my problem is with that one, the dead end road length. There's not another way in and out. It's only one road. It sits clear in the back. They come in off of Erskine Ranch Road all the way back into here.
Erskine Ranch off of Lofty Pines, and then up to Stone Tree Court for that point.
The one was.
Go through Crooked Oaks there.
Yeah, you know where that. Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it comes up through Crooked Oaks off of Lofty Pines.
The other one that was brought up was the one in Rolling.
Oh yeah. Well,
Rolling Hills. These were at one time, my understanding of this old subdivision, they were Forest Service plats that were 5 acre parcels that were sold. These people own a 5 and a 10. Would be these two lots we'd be looking at. They already dropped a well in, knowing what the requirements were. So the well would be on the new 5 acres, and then they would take the 10 acres with their well. So people are figuring out the shortcuts of, platting. There's not another way in and out. Rolling Hills Road is the only way in and out of that subdivision. Yeah. So you're talking 4 or 5 variances is right off the top. So that's where I'm trying to get direction. Do we just keep asking for all these variances and it's based?
Well, I think,
based on project.
Those examples you've all given there are subdividing subdivided lots.
Yep.
2 with major access issues already. So I mean, when people try to chop ground up like that in the middle of with all those issues, I mean, there's going to be a lot of variances. I just don't know any other way around it.
Well, plus you're never going to get some of that through their HOA. I mean, they're
right.
not going to approve it. So why go through all this?
Well, so that's the other problem is, so we don't enforce HOA rules. Right. However, you can consider like the general public area on variances. So you can consider what the HOA rules are and what the neighborhood's like when in a variance situation, but not in a straight plat. If they comply with all the statutes and all the ordinances, you have to grant them the plat.
But I think we need to be careful with that because we had this happen off of 220th when that gentleman didn't want to build off of Riata, the driveway from Riata. He wanted to come off of 220th Avenue, and even the developer did not want that to happen over by the mailboxes. And the HOA even signed a letter saying, hey, if the county people sign off on it, we don't have a problem with it. Next thing you know, everybody and their grandmother is going to have an interpretation of an ordinance and an HOA, see the conflict, and say, hey, county, they won't see it my way. Will you see it my way so I can fight against them? And one thing I can tell you from the time I've been here, these meetings are definitely getting more complex. We're starting to get a lot more into the deepness of what the development and everything else, and we definitely need to have a lot of smart when it comes to this economic development versus economic growth, and what are we going to do for our future? Because they made the mistake of giving us all this paperwork, telling us what they want to see happen, what should be happening as far as they're concerned, but some of the developers are not interested in what we are hoping for. They're interested in making money. Not that I blame them, but we can't just be focusing on short-term profit. We need to be focusing on long-term investment and stability.
Yeah, so
Tanya, whatever happened to
Marble Mountain.
Yes, thank you.
They were in a lawsuit. I don't know if it's still going.
Resolution yet?
Yeah. And going to the HOA rules, the one thing that we have seen historically is the HOA rules that say you can't subdivide a lot. Well, we can't enforce that, but if somebody comes along and says, I want to subdivide this lot, but I need a variance to do it, then I think you can say, well, the HOAs, I mean, there's a reason the HOA put rules in there is because of these other issues. So, I can weigh that because, you got to show extraordinary circumstances. If you bought the lot, if it said you couldn't subdivide it, what's your extraordinary circumstance? The fact that you bought it knowing you couldn't subdivide it, now you want us to subdivide it? I mean, it doesn't.
We did run into that with Who was on with Tracy Const?
Yeah, Tracy Const. I mean,
they had their covenants in place. And,
yeah, I remember.
Aren't you supposed to sign those documents when you buy them?
Well, there's usually a path forward through the HOA. It's just extremely difficult, in times.
It depends on the power of the HOA, because one of the things I've seen here, Christian, is the developer controls almost all the things in development up to a certain point when the HOA takes over. But then you end up finding out that halfway through the game, they change their lot sizes or whatever in order to maintain the majority control. And this is not just indicative of Meade County. I saw this down in New Mexico. I saw it in Ohio. Thankfully, it wasn't in Alaska. But, the deck is stacked, and it's not necessarily in the favor of the public at large. It's stacked in the favor of the people who are writing the rules.
Yeah, I don't have to tell anybody here this, but, we operate within the code. And, if somebody comes forward with an application that checks every box, within our code, I'm hard pressed to say no to that application.
Unless they're in an HOA or in a CCR.
But that's only if they're asking for a variance. I mean, if they meet all the requirements of the ordinance and state statute, we're actually supposed to pass it. That's what
and we've had that happen with up there off of the Tilford exit.
Right.
So yeah, you'll need to know the history of the story, but I'll tell you after we're done so we can adjourn.
Yeah, but on variances, it's, it's a different standard. Because at that point, they're asking they're saying, there's a hardship on me unless you grant the variance. Well, on the splitting the lot, how is there a hardship on you when you bought the lot? You knew you couldn't split it by the covenants, but now you say that the fact that I bought the land with a restriction on it created my own hardship. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you don't watch Heartland, do you? I mean, you should watch that show Heartland. That might explain it better for you.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple issues, and the other issue then you get is road district has to sign on the plat when you're in the road district area. Whoever controls the roads have to approve.
100%.
So just looking for direction, because I know these plats were approved based on a certain density, 9-acre density, and then you go to the 3 to 9. That's a whole different avenue, which would require a whole different set of rules.
Well, it's an interesting question, because then all of a sudden you talk about all three of those ones you just talked about could kick them into you need more water storage then. So there you go. That's why you guys all get paid the big bucks.
Continue forward with how we're proceeding. We'll just adjourn. Business is over. Yep, we're done. Thank you.
All right.